my gosh. You gotta see his dance.
Shake this system, come on, Trump, yeah. T-R-U-M-P, go Trump. I said we can keep our shotguns, come on, Trump, yeah. T-R-U-M-P, go Trump. Don't start cooking, we can eat out tonight now. T-R-U-M-P, go Trump. I said don't stop now, come on, Trump, yeah. Come on, Trump. I said Trump, Trump, Trump.
Patriots. I just had to play the whole thing. That thing is, you just play that. If you ever get worried, down, discouraged, whatever, just watch that. I'll be right back. I danced so hard, I had a blowout with my hairdo. All right, here we go, you guys. We're going to talk about this. Some of you guys may know about what in the world is this? What is he doing with this? He posted this. Oh my goodness, I thought I was going to have a fit. I laughed so hard. Isn't that awesome? I adore him. And then, yeah, he posted this today. Trump, keep America great. 2024. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. Y'all, you see how he's trolling? That's our third term. He makes me feel so good, so right. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, all right. So here we go. Make sure that you are still liked and share, and make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure your bell is dinged. And also, I was going to say one other, because the algorithms, we're trying to bypass, and I'm seeing that we are being effective. So thank you so much. Now, because we just got to help everybody to feel good and all right, because the thing is, when we get down, we can't fight. We just sit and go hide under the bed, right? So the other thing is, at the end of the videos, I'm trying to put other videos on there that connect to what I'm doing here, so you'll get more information. So look at that, click at the end of the video if you want to click and see if some of those you haven't seen, or if they're interesting to you. Now, someone had mentioned a good idea, and it was actually on my to-do list. Y'all don't even know what my to-do list is, so long every day. But anyway, about organizing like numbering the videos. And so I don't know that would be helpful. I want to organize them somehow. So if y'all have any great ideas, I would love to hear how to make them easy to find. I've got playlists, so that's helpful. I probably need to update the playlist because I haven't really messed with that lately. Anyway, so I just want to make sure that the videos are easy to find. So we need kind of a catalog, because I now have been doing videos like every 2 or 3 days since May of last year, so a year and a half. All right, so anyway, so I'll just let you know I'm working on that if anybody has any great ideas. Now, he has, again, with the 2.5 years, he's literally, in the past 2 days, he's done like 4 posts that focus on 2.5. 2.5 this, 2.5 that, 2.5 years, 2.5. So that again is going back to the video that I did on our timeline. I don't know if he's saying y'all got it, or I don't know. Yes, in our timeline of 3.5 years, we are at the 2.5 year mark. I really do think that that's what he is telling us. He is reminding us. Now I got crazy hair going. Anyway, so yeah, I think that that's what he is telling us. I'm not going to show you all the posts, but it was just more and more and more. Like more than any other president in the first 2.5 years. 2.5 years this, 2.5 years that. 2.5 was increased by 2.5. He doesn't just put these numbers in there randomly. that's where we are in the timeline. And I believe he was communicating that and reminding us of that. Because let's see, who was also my buddy? Yeah, Mike Pence also said it has been 2.5 years, and President Trump retweeted 2.5 years. Anyway, so what is that about? I'm not going to go into the detail. If you want to look at it, go to this video, Timeline When the New World Order Will Be Destroyed. But here is a verse that I'll just very quickly say in Revelation 11:11, our favorite, right? It says, but after 3.5 days, God breathed life into them and they stood up. Terror struck all who were staring at them. Terror there is striking fear. They're just being stricken with fear because they know that we are finally awake. We are finally getting it. We're finally all rising up. We're finally realizing what truly happened, on 9/11 and in our own town and everywhere. Okay, after 3.5 days. That really is talking about 3.5 years. 3.5 years. Okay, so this is the thing. He's not really at 2.5 years. 2.5 years is going to be like the 20th of July. So why is he saying he should have said that in July, y'all. We're now in September 11th. So why is he saying 2.5? I believe because on the Hebrew calendar, I bet that's really 2.5 years since his inauguration. I bet you $1 it is. And so what that does is it takes us to basically Christmas of 2020. Okay, and I know, I wish I was wrong. The other video I did about the timeline, I just did a couple days ago, where it's showing all the different phases that we're in, the birth phase. We finished the birth phase and the judgment phase, and now we're in the wrestling phase. And then we're going to be in the destruction phase, and that doesn't finish until December of 2020. I wish I was wrong, but I want it done today. But we know that we're not there yet, and it's going to take, we've learned, we in the Q movement know this is going to take time. And it just still, because of all the people that are around us who are still asleep. So that's one of the things I was going to say today is to utilize, we're going to talk about 9/11 very briefly, and that is to utilize this horrifying event. If something like this had happened to you, you would want to know that this was used to wake up the world. And I know in many of our cases, the Lord used it to wake each one of us up. So now do the same thing. Use this to wake up people. Like I was talking with someone today, and I basically told her this. And she's like, well, so what was the end game? Why would they do such a thing? Because they have poppy fields in Afghanistan that they need to make all this money, right? And the Taliban was shutting them down, burning the fields, the poppy fields. So they have to find a way to shut down the Taliban. And so how are you going to get a war going? Well, we're not really that crazy about going to war. But when this happened, we were. We said, okay, we'll go to war, okay? So, it made me cry. All right, so I got mascara running all the time, and I cry happy tears over Trump because he knows about this. He knows what happens. I want to show you guys this video. This was on the day that this happened, back in 9/11. He knew then, and he knows now, and he's not forgetting ever. And that's for me too. I am, once I found this out, and I found out about the children, I was like, I'm working every day on something. I'm going to tweet. I'm going to moderate Reddit boards. I'm going to make videos. I'm going to do something until these people are cast into the abyss. And I know that's the way you feel too. All right, so let me let you hear what he had to say.
You're probably the best known builder, particularly of great buildings in the city. There's a great deal of question about whether or not the damage and the ultimate destruction of the buildings was caused by the airplanes, by architectural defect, or possibly by bombs or aftershocks. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it was an architectural defect. The World Trade Center was always known as a very, very strong building. Don't forget, that took a big bomb in the basement. Now, the basement is the most vulnerable place because that's your foundation, and it withstood that. And I got to see that area about 3 or 4 days after it took place because one of my structural engineers actually took me for a tour because he did the building. And I said, I can't believe it. The building was standing solid, and half of the columns were blown out. I mean, so this was an unbelievably powerful building. If you know anything about structure, it was one of the first buildings that was built from the outside. The steel, the reason the World Trade Center had such narrow windows is that in between all the windows, you had the steel on the outside. So you had the steel on the outside of the building. That's why when I first looked, and you had big, heavy I-beams. When I first looked at it, I couldn't believe it because there was a hole in the steel. And this is steel that was, you remember the width of the windows in the World Trade Center, folks. I think you know, if you were ever up there, they were quite narrow. And in between was this heavy steel. I said, how could a plane, even a 767 or 747 or whatever it might have been, how could it possibly go through the steel? I happen to think that they had not only a plane, but they had bombs that exploded almost simultaneously, because I just can't imagine anything being able to go through that wall. Most buildings are built with the steel is on the inside around the elevator shaft. This one was built from the outside, which is the strongest structure you can have, and it was almost just like a can of soup.
You know, Donald, we were looking at pictures all morning long of that plane coming into building number 2, and when you see that approach the far side, and then all of a sudden, within a matter of a millisecond, the explosion pops out the other side.
Right. I just think that there was a plane with more than just fuel. I think, obviously, they were very big planes. They were going very rapidly, because I was also watching where the plane seemed to be not only going fast, it seemed to be coming down into the building. So it was getting the speed from going downhill, so to speak. It just seemed to me that to do that kind of destruction is even more than a big plane, because you're talking about taking out steel, the heaviest caliber steel that was used on a building. I mean, these buildings were rock solid. And, you know, it's just an amazing thing. This country is different today, and it's going to be different than it ever was for many years to come.
Very profound statement and very true.
Thermitic explosive residue, that's nuclear. This building was never hit by a plane. Building 7, if you don't know about Building 7, definitely look into that. LVI Services removing illegal asbestos was a perfect place to plant the explosives. Marvin Bush was on the board of directors for the security company for this building. Silverstein, you got to see this. He purchased the landlord rights a few months before 9/11, doubled the insurances, and was not in his usual office and received over $4 billion. Yeah, and he was the famous one who said pull it on Building 7. So all these, this was nuclear. This was a nuclear attack. If you surely you know about it. If you don't, it's time to find out and research it. And yeah, but he knew way back when this first happened, because he had known about the bombing to begin with. When it was first bombed long ago, before 9/11. And so he knew that it is not destroyed. Then why were they trying to do this? They had lots of reasons, but one is the war that they needed for the poppy. Number 2, they wanted the insurance money, and it's because this building was, I think, with those windows, fewer and fewer people wanted to be in that building. And so now, anyway, it's beyond evil. But this is why. This is how do you start a war? How do you get this did it? Okay, so why are we, of course, we're talking about this because it's 9/11. So utilize this day to help people understand. This is why I tried so hard. If you saw, I was posting all these videos, this meme, and I was struggling so hard to get it to where it would be in the feed. I wanted to be people to see this in the feed and not have to click on it. So in the tweet, in Twitter, which is Freedom Forcer, and also put it on our community page. So I wanted you to see that, and also that this whole thing about this, what is he drawing, this marker? Why is he doing that? This was cute. I'm not gonna, yeah, I guess I can play a little bit of that. Yeah. This is from our president. This is not from one of the other patriots. This is a post that our president put on directly on his page, on his Twitter. What is this about? So I want you to see, this was the model, and this was the drawing. They did a Sharpie. Did y'all see anything about Sharpie Gate? I'm going to talk about this. They were attempting to do another nuke. They were attempting to do that. And I have family it was going to go right toward my family in northern Florida and in southern Alabama. So thank you, Lord, that they did not accomplish what they were trying to do. I'm so thankful. They kept Harvey sitting over us for 13 days. And I know 13 is actually a good number because it's the number for Jacob's sons, but they use it for evil. Of course, they always use a good number and they use it for evil. But this was what he was in the White House that day when he was looking. Okay, so I'm going to go through these because likely you have not had the time to go through them, and it's just so good. So if a Category 5 hurricane hit a nuclear plant dead center, and at the exact same time an underwater nuke was set off next to it, would the resulting nuclear meltdown look like Chernobyl Fukushima incident? This is what they were trying to do. That they ginned up this storm. We talked about that on the other video a couple days ago. They ginned this thing up, the one with the it's in the laser and it causing it to just spin around. So and keep it going. And so if it had hit a nuclear facility, and then they caused this to one thing or another to cause a nuke to go off, just like they did on 9/11, because that building was filled with nukes. That was not a normal. That's just nothing normal about that at all. And we were totally asleep and trusting and thought never in the world. And even people now still can't even imagine the absolute evil of these people. But anyway, we're awake now, and more of us are. So we're going to keep praying for more people are going to wake up. All right. So then the next thing was, remember how he said, watch out for false flags worldwide. Stay vigilant. And, all right. So we know that they are doing that all the time. Then they were having, on the very day right after this would have happened, they were going to have this climate, which they did have this climate crisis, but obviously they weren't talking. They thought they were going to be talking about this Dorian and a nuclear meltdown. That's what they thought they were going to be talking about. This is what this 3 days, 3 nights thinks. And I think that likely that is true. The amazing times of CNN's town hall and the potential nuclear meltdown of Port St. Lucie from Dorian. So he goes into PSL. I'll talk to you about hashtag PSL and what that is. Port St. Lucie. And so they were doing, the CIA was doing these tweets using PSL. But anyway, we'll talk about that. But Jordan Sather, who was the first one to ever tell me about Q years ago, back in October 2017, he talked. Jordan Sather. I was watching one of his videos, and he brought up about Q, and he just said the other day on Joe M's page that he's a little suspicious of the 3 days, 3 nights. So I think it's always good to be suspicious, and just wonder: is this person a real deal, or are they a bad guy? It's so hard to tell, but at least this post does have a lot of very compelling information. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll put out some good stuff at the beginning and to build your trust, and then they'll start putting out disinfo. Okay, so we always have to have our little spiritual antenna up all the time. So here is the track that they had. Tracks it hitting dead center at Port St. Lucie, right there. The nuclear power plant. Is this PSL? Port St. Lucie. What are the odds that on Sunday, when Dorian was a small storm, that MSM would leak a story that Trump said he would nuke a hurricane to stop it from hitting the U.S. during Trump's NSA? Did Trump's NSA have intel that they were planning a false flag weather event? I feel sure he knew. We know that they knew. They knew, in my opinion, they knew when they went to the G7 and Melania wore that dress, the perfect storm. They knew. They know their plans. These people are stupid. They've been able to do things for so long, and they don't have safe comms anymore. We've got it all. We know what they're doing, which is good, so that we can fight against it, right? Dorian was growing larger, and on last Tuesday, would you be surprised to learn that CNN released the schedule of its climate crisis town hall to fall on Wednesday the 4th, just a day or two after the destruction of Florida, the estimated destruction of Florida. Yeah, they were gonna see how do you see how they plan all these things out? They plan the false flag, and then they plan the events after it so that they can sway the public opinion, get us to rise up and say we got to vote against the gun control or whatever it is. All right, so then it barely misses Puerto Rico and hits Epstein Island. Were they trying to destroy evidence? I would not doubt it. The thing is, a lot of it is underground. It's going to be hard for them to do anything with that. Now, these were the CIA tweets that they had put out about the pumpkin spice latte. That's what they call it, pumpkin spice latte, but that's a PSL, which is Port St. Lucie. Okay. What if the CIA was signaling that they knew Dorian was a weather weapon heading straight for Port St. Lucie? That makes sense to me. Okay, so then we see that we've got this map that he's putting up here. At that point, it didn't have the Sharpie. Okay, obviously dead center, Port St. Lucie, the Nuke comment, and the CIA using the PSL term. All right, and then he says, we are dead center in the path of Dorian. Did Trump head to Camp David for an sorry, for a nuclear emergency? Because remember, he was supposed to go to Poland, and he chose not to. He could easily have, he doesn't stay home for every hurricane. He certainly doesn't go to Camp David for every hurricane. And so there was a potential. There was a possibility. And, they're over there with the Space Force fighting this thing. It's amazing. It's so amazing. I'm so thankful that we now have the Space Force and the technology. And so I was reading something about that you can, so much of the power of the hurricane is in that circle, and that they're keeping it going. But it's that eye being and going round and round and round. But if it starts to do this business or shaking, all that, then it loses all of its power. So you can laser and cause that center, that eye, to wobble, and then it won't be able to do it. All right, so to keep its power up. So that's likely what they did. My phone's ringing off the hook. Anyway, imagine a Cat 5 hurricane strike dead center on PSL, causing a meltdown. Using Red October attack to start a nuclear meltdown. Wow. So then Dorian's track suddenly shows a big north turn at Freeport, as in freedom, Freeport. Did we prevent their nuclear meltdown? Of course, Freeport is in the Bahamas, and we're setting those children free. I don't know what happened there, but I feel very confident that there's certainly not going to be any more of trafficking. They are not going to be able to continue their operations there. So this no doubt prevented this meltdown. So I'm going to show you. Let me see if I can find that other picture. So here is. Oh, and you guys, I'm sure you already know this, but I'll just go over it for those who possibly don't, that the storm destroyed the Chinese and the Maersk ports. Did we know they used tech hidden in container ships to steer it? Imagine that. This is the very ones who were steering this storm, and nope, we're steering it right on your head. Right on your head, and no one is coming to help you because of what you have done. It's outrageous. It's outrageous that they would, but the good news is they don't have the power anymore. They have to know. There's another hurricane they're saying is brewing but I wonder if they think the same thing will happen. If we can control one, we'll control this one too. All right, so then storm path miraculously stalls and then turns due north at Freeport. Did we say Florida and Alabama? I know we did, and I'm so thankful. Now here's the one with his marker. You see that line right there? That's with his Sharpie, and his Sharpie gate, and they're like, oh, if that was against the law for him to do, he's basically trying to be a weatherman, and he's not allowed to do that. He's the president. He can do that. He can write on there with a Sharpie if he wants to. And so they were saying, because this was supposed to be a public service announcement, and this is supposed to be for the weather agency, whatever, National Weather Agency. And so he's not allowed to use his Sharpie and do that, right? So So you know what he does? You know what he ends up doing? He says, I'm going to start selling Sharpies. Trump's campaign is selling black markers that have the special ability to drive CNN crazy. He is the boss. Here it is. If y'all want the link, shop.donaldjtrump.com. Official Donald J. Trump fine point markers with his beautiful name on it. $15. I love it. Oh my gosh. I've got to go get me some right away. I still haven't placed my order. I need to put that on my to-do list. So yeah, they all attend this meeting. Was it time for the maximum effect for the fallout? I'm sure it was. And then they actually changed the name of Alabama to Mississippi, basically saying, stop everything, cancel, we're all of our what we were going to do, that's their message to say we're abandoning the fallout talking points. Wow. Imagine, you guys, this would have been unbelievable. We would have been right now talking about, we're not even talking really about Dorian. We would have been that would have been so much destruction, devastation. It would have been awful. So many things we don't even think to give thanks for that the Lord saved us from, absolutely delivered us from. Would the nuclear fallout have passed over Disney and created a Chernobyl evacuation to hide evidence? Yes. Yes. Did you think about that? Did you think about that? That they've got multiple things that they're trying to cover up. How can we cover up all this evidence? And I don't know if it's going to talk about here, but that they would have all these Disney cruise ships that were bringing these children in from over in the Bahamas. So let's see. Did Patriots save us to let us know the eye wall passed over No Name Island? No Name Island. We got control of this thing. I'm just so thankful. Also, they're talking about paid sick leave, PSL, hashtag PSL. So yeah, we got to learn their comms. We learned the president's comms, we learned their comms, we know what they're doing, and they can't hide anymore. They can't snow us anymore. They can't fool us anymore. So I'm going to show y'all the next thing. Where did I put that one? I wanted you to see this. Hang on, before I go on to something else. That's something else. Hang on, I'm going to find it. I'll be right back. All right, this is what I wanted y'all to see. What does that look like to you? What does that look like? I was driving down the road yesterday, and I was talking with a buddy of mine on something else, and that we're working on, and I just about drove off the road when I saw this. This was on a sign for a major church in the Houston area. It's a billboard, and I just about flipped. Illuminati. And they're basically, I hate to say it, I just wish I didn't have to say it, but I'm going to have to call them as I see them. We know that the churches have been infiltrated by the secret societies, and that they've used the people to keep the Christians from rising up and speaking out about what the Bible really, really says. And because, anywhere when you rise up, you're pushed, you get the whack-a-mole, right? And then to see that they know everything. I've had people tell me they know what I'm telling is true. These are people who are in these secret societies. They know what I'm saying is true on this channel. They know that this is the day, and that this is the day when we are rising up and the enemy is going to be cast out. They know about Trump. They know all of it, and they're trying to keep it on the down low. That's why they try to squash this page, because not only are we talking about, how to be a part of the patriot movement, but we're talking about this is in the light of God's word and the promises that he has, that there would be a day when they would be cast out. The church has been infiltrated so that they would teach us that we're leaving, and that the bad guys are saying and the world would blow up. And that's not the truth. The truth is we're staying here and we're kicking them out. So it says one will be, taken to Gitmo, and one will be left. Anyway, those are all other videos about, look at my Revelation playlist. Anyway, so I about flipped when I drove by. It's like, basically a billboard flashing a light. It's a light flashing. You see the light flashing saying, it's time to illuminate. All of you secret society people, light up everything. Stop the patriots. Stop the people from exposing the truth. Stop them. Shine and, you know, just blast out the patriots who are trying to expose what's going on. I really do feel that that's what it says. And I'm sorry to have to say that. I wish I was wrong. I wish I was wrong. I really, really do. But most people might not even see it. The younger people, it's funny, the younger people know all about Illuminati. They know all about it. They know, not all about it, but they know a lot more than the older people. Yeah. Yeah. And I know it says 52 weeks. I would not be surprised if that's kind of saying we've got like 52 weeks until we're fixing to not be in power anymore, before the patriots win. We've got 52 weeks, because that's basically, this sign will be up for a while. But yeah, they realize their time is really short. It's time to pull out all the stops. So not only Dorian, but all these, just in every area. So be prepared. Who knows what's the next thing? We don't know, but the Lord has seen us through this far, and he's going to get us to the finish line, and we're going to be set free from these creeps. I'm sorry. All right. So I wanted you to see this reprogram. I have there's a group in our town that helps people who have gotten on drugs and helps them to get off of this and to reprogram their thinking. And they go, and for the first 4 months, they don't leave campus. They don't have a phone. They don't go on the internet, because they're trying to reprogram them and to change their thoughts and their thinking and everything. So that's what we are doing with the Q movement, is understand Q has been the hugest reprogrammer. And so we're working on trying to get, each other, and share this on Twitter or wherever with friends or social media, whatever, so that we can help to reprogram people and seed their mind with this is what's really going on, as much as we can, especially like I said, using 9/11 for that very purpose. So that's, I thought that was neat. Shout out to my buddy Roger, who's really awake, and hopefully soon you'll have social media so you can watch our channel. So it's when you've had the wrong thinking for so long, it takes a while to get this reprogrammed. And so that is what we are working on. And so this couldn't happen in a day. It was going to take 3.5 years, which is really not that long, but to get everybody on the same page. And there's just going to be more, it's going to happen faster and faster and faster. All right, so I wanted you to see, this is a program a show I've been watching, which is Outlander, and it's talking about the Scottish Highlanders who fought the Redcoats. And oh my goodness, it is, I'm very thankful. It is, I do think that there are videos like this, like Rain, like some of these videos. Does Netflix have everything good? No. But are there some good things on there? Yes. And these things, I know for me, this series has reprogrammed my understanding of what happened with our forefathers over in Scotland and England and Ireland. Were all the British people bad? Of course not. It was the people at the top, the ruthless, evil ones at the top. Okay, so we are thankful for good videos and good movies and good series like this. That just beware, there's some things that are not PG-13. Okay, but that are helping us to reprogram and to help us to piece all this together and put it together and understand what's truly been going on. I also had this, y'all know, this is, I've heard people call it, somebody said the other day, Jussi Smollett, and I thought that was funny. So I'm like, it clicked. I'm like, oh, that sounds like jus suis, and I know so little of French that you can put it in a thimble and have room left over. But jus suis means I am. Jus suis means I am. Jus suis, okay? So that basically his first name is I am, if you think about it in French. And Smollett, get a load of what I found on this. If anybody has any information about it, I'm really interested to find out. there's a guy named supposedly Tobias Smollett, which doesn't sound like a Scottish name. They're saying he's Scottish. They're saying he was baptized in 1721, right about the time of the 45. It's called the 45, the war against that our Scottish forefathers fought against the Redcoats. Okay, so they're saying that this guy from Dumbartonshire, he died in 1771. So he was in that right in that time of the 45 of the war. And Cumberland, those of us, I was raised in the Cumberland Valley. He was the bad guy who was leading the Redcoats. And yeah, anyway, so in Culloden as in Culligan, whatever. Don't get me started. I'll go off on the wrong track on that. too many. Chase too many rabbits. But okay, so I found out about Tobias Smollett. I bet this is totally fake news. Totally fake news. What do you bet? Okay, so they're telling that this Tobias Smollett, whatever, is he wrote all these books and they're so profligate and so evil and what are they saying here? Like he's just like let me see if I can find it. Anyway, bottom line, they're saying the name. I bet these books are not even by him. I bet these books were created to make him look bad. Like for me, I've spent my life trying to preach the gospel, to bring people to Christ, and if they wanted to destroy, it just hurt me the most is to take me and say, this is what Miss Melissa was all about, and she wrote these evil books. That would be the worst thing. I bet you $50 that Tobias Smollett did not write these things. But they use him as, hey, he's the one who is degrading the Scottish society, the Scottish culture. The Scottish culture is really the Israelite culture. And it shows that on the movie too. They would change the name of it, say, oh no, we're not Israelites, because they were trying to be on the down low, but it really was. There's blood on the door and they're celebrating Passover, but they call it something else. But anyway, so I think that what they do is they some of this history, we've got to be really, really careful when you see something, especially like a Wikipedia or Britannica or something online. Who knows what they've done and gone in and changed it, and that they are saying that this, when he's saying Jesse Smollett, basically what he is saying is, I am the degrader of God's people. I'm the one who will help to degrade God's people. As in, Smollett was used to say, see how evil the Scottish people are. So they act like they're good, but they're really evil on the inside. And so Jesse Smollett is saying, I am the degrader, the one who's bringing their culture down. I really do think that's the point of his name. So there you go. How you like that? How you like that? I need help finding information about this. I really would like it if people found it. I don't believe really any of this necessarily is the truth about Donovan Scott. There's something about Donovan Scott. If anybody has information about Donovan, Dunbarton, Dunhaven, there's a lot of different ways that they would say it. I feel like a Scottish person. I would really like to know about Donovan Scott, if anyone has any information about that. Okay, the last thing is I wanted to show you guys, I've got a couple of other things. I also want to talk to you about Jesus' birthday and the day of his the crucifixion. So, but before we do, I want to show you Mike Morales' video where he is talking about cloud seeding. I want to make sure that you have a copy of that. I put it on the community page if you want to link to it. So just check this out.
We've had a lot of cases where we were seeding storms that had no business being seeded. We were just kind of throwing darts, and we were seeing responses to some of those. So we are learning that maybe there's more opportunity with some of these. Maybe we don't even need to have a rain cloud. We could go work cumulative congestus clouds that aren't really precipitating yet. And if it has inflow, maybe we could get something to work. Year one, we had the air tractor that the USDA provided, so dosaging was a lot better. We were getting about 40 to 45 gallons per cloud.
All right, so is this guy a bad guy? I'm thinking he's just a useful idiot. He's being one of these people who's thinking he's doing something good, and they're actually doing all this evil. So this is around the 11:11 mark on this video by Mike Morales. Now I'm going to take you to around the 27 mark, and it's going to show all this stuff throughout the skies. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So
of the heavy aerosols, so they're still spraying all around the Arctic. Look at this.
did you hear him say they're spraying all around the Arctic? Well, if you know, I just got back from going to Alaska, and it was 80 degrees. It was so hot up there, and I had wondered, which I feel like is true, here where we live, it's 101 degrees at 8 p.m. I mean, it is so hot, and I feel like these, I mean, we're constantly, if anybody tells you that they've stopped spraying or the spraying is good, there's no way. I get sick on it. And that's why I use this stuff right here, the water purifying solution, and I put it in my water. And if I don't, I can't function. So there's no way that President Trump is allowing them to, this is deep state that's doing this. And he even talks about this is AI, these are drones, and this is being done by the deep state. President Trump does not have control of these people yet. Neither, just like he didn't have control of them, what they did with the Dorian storm. So yeah, they've got. Oh, he just goes on and on. I'm going to mute it just so you can see some of this while I'm talking. But yeah, and he shows all the different spraying. He even shows one that is, where they're trying to lead storms with the chemtrails, and he also shows a C-130, just a huge mammoth airplane that is just dumping. It's a huge dump, not like a regular plane that we would see, but just this huge giant dump of aerosols. Let me see if I can find that one. Yeah, look at that. He's like, what is this crazy storm looking like? Those are not normal clouds. See how they're spraying all that in there? He goes on and on. You see that? That's not normal. That's not normal. Okay, so anyway, he goes into all that. So I would recommend checking that out if you have time and becoming aware of all that. And it says he did something about CERN. If anybody knows the time marker when we talked about CERN, I would be glad to see it. And I'll just give you one little hint. What do you call it? Hang on, I'm going to go get the name of what I want to call it. Hang on real quick. So researching CERN, C-E-R-N, and the asteroid belt is not what we've been told. And you see this beautiful pictures of this asteroid belt. It's not what we've been told, but that's another story for another day. Oh, maybe here might be.
All up here, I had a good layer right here. Where was that? Oh, so the UK, see, they're going to pull all this moisture coming down out of the UK.
Anyway, so you can see these little streaky things, and it's not normal at all. All right, I've got to show you this. You've got to see this. All right, so this is so cool. When you go on Stellarium, as in stellar, S-T-E-L-L-A-R, stellar, and Stellarium, this is the date. This is as I've shown you before, the Bethlehem star. This is when Jupiter and Venus were together, and this was on -1, okay, in the Stellarium where they track dates, June 17th. Okay, so this is 14th, but it's right in between the 14th and 17th. So this is his birthday. This is our Lord Jesus's birthday. Okay, and if you want to go and look at my video on the Bethlehem star, then it shows you exactly how the wise men knew. It had to do with 70 times 7, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But look at that video for that. This is the day of his crucifixion. Okay, this is 4/4, which is right at Passover, April 4th, which on the Gregorian calendar, 33. Okay, so that it was a blood moon that entered into Libra, which is the scales of justice. And so the blood moon went into the scales of justice, and it was in there during the time when he was on the cross, like clockwork. Absolute clockwork. This is the giant clock in the heavens. The Mazzaroth is the clock in the heavens, the zodiac or the Mazzaroth. All right, so, but what does that mean? He's not 33 years old. He's actually 34. He's 34. So when you see 34, that should clue you in something's fishy when you see 34. okay? Because they're using it, again, they use it for evil. They use the good things for evil. And they just think it's so funny to trick people. And they like, these people don't get it. Well, we are starting to get it, you know? And, you know, we aren't trying to trick people. We're not trying to be deceptive. We're not trying to be filled with malice and doing things to deceive and to hurt and harm people. Anyway, so now you know his birthday and the day that he died on the cross for us, 4/4/33. So he was 34 years old, not 33. The stars don't lie. All right, so he's talking about on this video. I'm not going to go into it, but
as Georgia,
he talks about. Oh, let's see. He was talking about Sweden having this thing about just eating making hamburgers out of people who died. I mean, that's absolutely outrageous. And he was talking about this on Fox News. I'm really kind of surprised that they let him play that on Fox News. Now, if you've not seen this, this is a famous movie called Soylent Green. I'm going to play a little bit of the trailer, but at the beginning, I want you to catch that it says that this was way back in 73, and they're saying that in the year 2022, I think it says, that the people are just starving. They have to have Soylent Green. And the thing is, Soylent Green is people. The Soylent Green is people. So the whole society has been transitioned to eat. It's just the movies. That's crazy. But check it out. Check out this little trailer.
What is the secret of Soylent Green? New York City in the year 2022. Nothing runs anymore. Nothing works. But the people are the same. And the people will do anything to get what they need.
This is the police.
What they need most is Soylent Green.
The supply of Soylent Green has been exhausted. Return to your home.
What is the secret of Soylent Green? Detective Sergeant Thorne. He has a 2-year backlog of unsolved murders. Now he's on a case that must be solved. Saul Roth, Thorne's private library.
Hey, Saul.
I won't go
was an
into
assassination.
Now,
I'll give you the link to it so you can see. But basically, and she's basically his where people own each other. He owns her. You know, she comes with the apartment, and then this is their factory.
Since my last confession.
That's the factory where they're making Soylent Green. If you haven't seen that video, that movie's like crazy, but that's what they've been leading us down that path. Ugh, crazy. Thank you, Lord, that didn't happen. All right, I guess that is it. Oh, 2 little clues in case you guys have time on your hands and you want to research something, along with the ones that I've already told you about Jonathan Scott and Tobias Smollett or Smollett. And that is what Q had posted December 19th, 2017. How far away is the closest star? What do you think? Now, after he posted this, he says he wasn't gonna talk about that anymore, and he hasn't. But again, it goes into how much we've been lied to, and Q knows. Yeah, and there's no UFOs and there's no aliens. I just tell you right now, it's not. The only aliens are people who are borderless societies, where people come into a society, into a nation that they don't belong to. Okay, or people who have given themselves over to have the evil one dwell within them, and they've become like demonic. All right, so this is the other thing. Check out the Bedford level experiment. If you just have time on your hands and you want to research something and learn what Red Pill would have, some little clues from Red Pill. All right, so let's pray. Thank you so much, Lord, for all that you're teaching us. And thank you so much for our president. Thank you for saving us from the disaster of a nuclear attack. Thank you so much, Lord. Thank you so much, Lord, that you have rescued us in more ways than we even know. We give you praise that you have saved us over and over and over. We thank you, Lord, that this is the great day of revelation, and we're getting to learn so many things. Just download truth to us. Help us to understand what is right and what is wrong, what is true, what is false. And we pray for everyone, especially on today with the 9/11, that they will that we'll share with people, and they will know what really truly happened, and that this will be a big day of awakening for everyone. And we pray that nothing that the enemy does, this Illuminati thing, nothing is going to help. Nothing that they do will benefit them. It will just more and more will wake up, like it said in your word, that after 3.5 days they stood up and the terror struck all who were looking. We thank you, Lord, that they are in great terror. And I know, Lord, right now they're doing everything to stop us. But Lord, I pray you just continue to raise up your people so that we can fight them at every turn. We thank you, Lord. We praise you, Lord, that you are perfect in all your ways, that you keep your promises, and that we're getting to see, have a front row seat to what you are doing in our day. We just love you. We praise you. We can't wait for our president to be president in 2024. We just thank you so much that we're going to live in the millennial reign with 1,000 years of peace. We are ready. We're ready. And we just praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. I love you. Have a great day. I will talk to you soon.